Welcome to the Alberta 51 project and the future of the nation of Alberta. For decades now, Alberta has been battling the corrupt bureaucracy that is the federal government of Canada. Going forward, we're going to break down why it would be beneficial for Alberta to become the 51st state of the Union for the United States of America. Following that, in future videos, we will be breaking down our policies, our platform, and our goals moving forward. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video to see much more of our content. Let's start off with the economic benefits. Alberta has an economy ready to boom. However, as a province of Canada, oil country is stuck in a standstill due to federal bureaucrats in Ottawa preventing Alberta's energy sector from truly becoming the masterpiece it can be for every Albertan. Oil plays such a big role in the daily lives of our people. Whether it's the energy to heat our homes, fuel for our vehicles, powering farming equipment, or creating jobs, it is a necessity and necessary part of this nation. If Alberta could escape the restraints of Ottawa bureaucrats and work together on a deal to join the United States, a pipeline could be built, as originally planned, that extends from Alberta, northern Alberta, all the way down to Texas. This would also create over 10,000 American jobs. Now let's go over states' rights. What are states' rights? Well, states' rights give individual states the right to pass and enforce laws and operate independently of and with minimal interference from the federal government. This means each state has the right and the power to operate independently from the federal government as long as there's no violation of the U.S. Constitution. This would look similar to current Premier Danielle Smith's Sovereignty Act that she is currently attempting to pass. The difference is that the current act has to be approved by the federal government of Canada due to the legal confines the feds have in place. As a state, however, these rights are protected under the U.S. Constitution and do not require approval from the federal administration. Now, there are a few differences between Canada and the United States. First thing to go over here is that in Canada, there is a document called the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. In this document, it outlines the rights and freedoms that are supposed to be guaranteed to every Canadian citizen. However, the linguistics used in the Charter is seen as contradictory in that very promise. Take a look on the screen. The exact wording in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms is this: the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees the rights and freedoms set out in it, subject only to such reasonable limits prescribed by law as can be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. Here's the problem with that opening statement. A guarantee is no longer a guarantee when followed by subject only to such reasonable limits. Rights are not limited, freedom is not limited. Freedom is a privilege that was fought for by men and women in uniform who many never saw the other side of and died honorably in the process. Therefore, rights and freedoms cannot be taken away following that sacrifice. Now, in the United States of America, the U.S. Constitution is much different than its northern neighbor. Within the U.S. Constitution, there is a document called the Bill of Rights. Take a look at the First Amendment in the Bill of Rights and the linguistics used. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. What does this mean? It means the government cannot limit your rights or freedom. Already, this is a better deal for Albertans. Let's talk about the security and overall well-being of citizens. In Canada, the federal government sees benefits of having open borders and allowing everyone into the country from any foreign land with minimal background checks or historical knowledge of those countries and claim immigrants as new Canadians, despite the fact that they could potentially pose a threat to the economy, safety of Canadians, or be a health hazard due to unknown viruses and diseases coming from overseas. Immigration aside, your personal security in Canada is always at risk due to the fact that you do not have the right to defend yourself from an intruder in your home or place of residence. If someone breaks into your house and poses a threat to you or your family, you are not allowed to defend yourself or your property without risk of arrest, detainment, or other penalty. In the United States, however, federal administrations have more often than not taken border security more seriously and are much more diligent in the decision of who they let into the country. For example, Even a Canadian who would like to move to the US must be sponsored by a potential employer to obtain a work visa and/or legal documentation to enter the United States on a permanent basis. Given the alliance between Canada and the US, we are allowed to visit each other's country for a limit of 6 months as long as we have a passport or proof of citizenship from our birth country without being questioned by immigration. Once again, immigration aside, in the USA, if an intruder breaks into your home, you do in fact have the right to defend yourself and your property without punishment as long as it's in the act of self-defense by any means necessary. Now, for many of you currently living in Alberta like myself, you might be thinking about what the outcome would look like for you should we become a state. And here are some key points to put your mind at ease. Would you lose your Canadian citizenship? The answer is no. You would in fact gain American citizenship and become a dual citizen. What happens with healthcare? Under the Declaration of States' Rights, Alberta would develop a hybrid healthcare system that would allow you to have access to affordable healthcare with the option of advanced care with additional payment. I'm a senior. What happens to my pension? Given the fact that you would still be a Canadian citizen as well, you would still be eligible to collect your pension. However, for future generations, you would be looking at what is called a 401k, which is America's version of a pension. What if I don't want to be an American and stay in Canada? You have the right to relocate to a Canadian province and remain in Canada. Would we have to take a citizenship test to fully become a citizen of the US? The answer is no. Citizenship would be automatic due to the fact that the border crossed you and not the other way around. If you have any further questions, concerns, or support for the Alberta 51 project, we can be contacted through any of our social media platforms, which I will be putting on the screen here, or you can email us at the ab51project@proton.me. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon with more content.